Chancellor Rachel Reeves is set to make a major announcement today, but leaks ahead of her spring statement have already sparked outrage and concern. With the economy under pressure and government savings falling short, Reeves is preparing to take drastic action. But the latest revelations have raised serious questions about the impact of her plans, with experts warning of dire consequences. Even within Labour, there are growing concerns that Reeves's approach could alienate voters and spark backlash. So, what exactly is being planned? And why are people already furious before the statement has even been made? Let's break it down. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Just a quick one to say we have new Liber t-shirts available on our website. You can check the link in the description or go to BritishStand.com. Chancellor Rachel Reeves is set to announce even deeper welfare cuts in her spring statement today as the government scrambles to cover a major shortfall in its expected savings. This comes after the Office for Budget Responsibility (OBR) rejected the Treasury's initial estimates, revealing that Labour's benefits shake-up will save £1.6 billion less than originally claimed. The government initially projected that its welfare reforms would save £5 billion, but the OBR's latest analysis has significantly reduced that figure to £3.4 billion. As a result, Reeves is preparing to announce a fresh wave of spending cuts worth £15 billion in order to meet her own self-imposed fiscal rules. These looming cuts have sparked serious concerns, particularly among public health experts, who warn that reductions in financial support could have devastating real-world consequences. With inflation still high, energy prices fluctuating, and wages struggling to keep up, millions of low-income families and disabled individuals are already facing financial hardship. Further cuts could mean the difference between heating and eating for many. Despite these warnings, Reeves is expected to frame her approach as a necessary step to restore the UK's economic credibility. In her speech, she will say, "This moment demands an active government stepping up to secure Britain's future, a government on the side of working people, to grasp the opportunities that we now have and help Britain reach its full potential. We need to go further and faster to kickstart growth, protect national security, and make people better off through our plan for change." But many will question whether Labour's austerity-style measures are truly benefiting working people, or simply making life harder for those already struggling. Labour's budget under scrutiny. This latest development comes at a time when Labour's economic strategy is facing increasing scrutiny. The party has sought to distance itself from conservative-led austerity policies, promising a fairer approach to managing public finances. However, today's announcement suggests Reeves is following a similar path, prioritising spending cuts over investment in public services and welfare. Critics argue that Labour is breaking its promises to protect the most vulnerable. Some point out that while the government is tightening the belt on welfare spending, other areas of public funding remain untouched, raising questions about fairness and priorities. Meanwhile, opposition MPs and campaigners are urging Labour to rethink its approach, warning that these cuts will worsen inequality and deepen economic struggles for the poorest households. The question now is, will Reeves listen, or will she push forward with policies that many fear will do more harm than good? As news of the additional cuts spreads, public frustration is likely to grow. Many struggling households already feel abandoned by the government, and further reductions to support payments could trigger backlash, not just from voters, but also from within Labour's own ranks. Some Labour MPs are said to be privately concerned that Reeves's approach is too harsh, with one reportedly saying, "We campaigned on the promise of fairness, and yet we're delivering cuts that will hit the most vulnerable. How do we justify that?" If Reeves fails to justify these cuts effectively, Labour risks losing public trust just months ahead of a likely general election. For now, Britain braces for impact, as today's spring statement will reveal just how deep these cuts will go, and whether Labour's economic gamble will pay off or backfire spectacularly. In other news, the Chancellor's bid to boost economic growth and signal confidence to the markets in her spring statement could backfire within 1 week as Donald Trump's escalatory tariff war looms. The president has dubbed April 2nd, 2025 Liberation Day, which is when reciprocal tariffs will be slapped on countries with significant trade barriers against the United States. With the EU in the crosshairs with a 25% levy expected on goods, analysts fear the economic consequences will spill over into Britain. These after effects could be compounded by the president's secondary tariffs, which he announced on Monday, imposing a 25% levy on any country that buys oil or gas from Venezuela, a 25% fee on their trade with the US. This poses a serious threat to Rachel Reeves as she plans to claw back some of the $9.9 billion fiscal headroom that has been wiped out since her autumn budget. The Chancellor has ruled out tax and spend policies, meaning she will neither raise taxes nor government spending, but is expected to make further cuts in a last-ditch attempt to recover gains lost to sluggish growth and spiraling borrowing costs. However, Trump's reciprocal tariffs aimed at countries that apply VAT to US imports could offset these gains. If Uncle Sam punishes our 20% VAT rate on US goods, it could cut our GDP growth by 0.4% annually for 2 years, about £24 billion in lost growth, warns the National Institute of Economic and Social Research. For context, if the UK economy were anticipated to grow by 1.5% in a given year, this reduction would lower growth to 1.1%, representing a significant slowdown. William Bain, head of trade policy at the British Chamber of Commerce, is calling on the UK government to adopt a flexible and agile response to avoid triggering a trade war and to seek to negotiate alternative arrangements. If they do not, then sectors such as automotives, pharmaceuticals, and food and drink could be significantly hit, as higher tariffs inevitably feed through into globally higher prices for consumers, Bain warned. On Monday, the Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey warned these tariffs could compound Britain's faltering productivity, already evident in manufacturing's PMI drop to an 18-month low of 44.6. This could render Reeves's growth forecasts obsolete within a week, forcing her to pivot to damage control. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.